Hey guys, and welcome back to the theBSofSociety. So, in case you didn't notice, basically the last set of videos, the character videos and the one before that, basically had one running theme. Okay. Is that you need to understand how your characters work by studying them. You can't just sit there and use them, right? And this goes into the topic of this video, okay? Just because you think you are correct, unless you do your research, are you really correct? Okay. One thing that Gen Z and millennials especially have a problem with is that we look at things on the internet and say, oh, that must be true, without looking at a single article. And trust me, I have an issue with it too. Whenever I'm in an argument with somebody, I go to look at statistics, find one article, and be like, yeah, see, look, it's true. But I don't go and look anywhere else to fact check it, right? We have YouTube and Twitter and stuff, ever since Donald Trump in 2020 saying, fact check, even for the pandemic, it's like, fact check, here's the correct source from the CDC. And it's like, yeah, but I need more than just one source. And especially when the source is politicized to either Democrats, Republicans, Green Party, libertarians, you need more than one source. And then when you get multiple sources saying the same thing, then you know what the facts are. See, this is what happened with Donald Trump all throughout his presidency was you had a couple news medias operated by one political party in the United States, basically taking bits and pieces off of Trump's stuff and never giving you the full context. So then you always thought Trump was a dick because you got the context of him being a dick. Same thing happened with Tectone and stuff. Now, this especially goes back into Genshin Impact. Okay, sorry for the politics. I do plan on making a video about fact checking sometime later on. But this is a problem with Genshin Impact too, especially the Genshin community, where it's like if you say Ganyu is a support DPS, like what Tectone did, you'll get walls of text every single time you say Ganyu is a support DPS of people saying, no, she's just DPS, Tectone. No, she's just DPS, random person on the internet. And then you're just like forced to change your answer because 90% of the people say you're wrong. That's not what makes you wrong, homie. That's like taking a math test and the teacher asks the question, what is 2 plus 2? Even if 29 out of 30 people say that 2 plus 2 equals 5, that doesn't mean 2 plus 2 equals 5. That one student that put that 2 plus 2 equals 4 is the only student that's correct. And that is why they are the only ones that get the answer right. And this might be why math is considered racist. Because, everybody needs a trophy these days. Again, sorry for the politics. I have a habit of speaking about politics. Sadly, I live in America, so politics is basically a part of my daily life. This is why I play video games to ignore it. Sadly, the Genshin community really hinders that ability, right? Because you got people that want to tell you a character works a certain way, and they'll even kick you out of a co-op lobby just because they think a character works only one way. Have you actually took the time to build the character? This goes back to that co-op lobby the other day. It's like that kid that was using Venti took the time to build Venti. I mean, he had a 10-10-10 Venti. And I would imagine Venti had full artifacts. And that Venti was probably built for support DPS, not one or the other. Why else did that Venti deal so much damage? Because if you're only putting energy recharge on your Venti, no shit, your Venti's not going to deal a lot of damage. But if you put energy recharge, elemental mastery, and attack on him, he's going to deal massive amounts of damage. Okay? And I'm going to say it again. You have to do your studying on your characters. Just because you think a character works a certain way doesn't mean it's entirely so. You have to study them. This goes for MMOs. This goes for games like Call of Duty, where you have certain guns. You have to understand how they work. Borderlands, there's certain guns that, you can look at their damage and stuff, but they might act entirely wonky where they shoot like 5 miles up in the air. I mean, you have to study your stuff, okay? And for Genshin and Honki especially, you have to study how characters work, or you're going to miss out on massive amount of support and DPS. For those of you that build Ganyu for DPS only, you're missing out on a lot of support. For those of you that build Venti for support only, you're missing out on a lot of DPS. And, I can't remember if I mentioned it or not. I think I did, but again, when I was using Shadowtail Phantasm on Honki Impact, I was missing out on massive amounts of damage. Once I went and looked at her kit and understood how she worked, I think my damage almost quadrupled. I mean, the damage is just stupid with her now. I can clear open world in like 5 minutes with her. That's how much damage she does. And you figure I have to go and walk between every single thing. She deals a lot of damage now. Especially during her burst. Before her burst, she does like hardly anything. But during her burst, the longer you can make that thing last, the better. And that's the entire reason why I made these set of videos. Because I'm just getting sick and tired of the Genshin community getting pissed off at MiHoYo because the community doesn't understand how the characters work. And see, I think this entire issue started all the way back with Zhongli. Because when Zhongli came out, there was a massive debacle, and Tectone was even saying that the character didn't need to be changed because he worked as intended, and he was pretty good as he was already. But then MiHoYo made a change because of the community. Probably because of the scene community, but because of the community in general. And now he's overpowered. He gives you a shield that doesn't even match Noelle's. And it's like you're pretty much invincible using him. So now it's like you have to have him on the party. Changing a character like that is what makes the game pay to win. And Ganyu even had a change. The duration for Ganyu's ultimate ability used to just be 10 seconds. Now it's 15, matching her cooldown, making her extremely overpowered. What are they going to do next? Change Yoimiya's artifact set so that way you don't lose 15 energy? That would just be overpowered. What are they going to do? Change Raiden Shogun's ability so that way it's considered elemental burst damage, but a normal and charged hit? Making her be able to synergize with Beidou and making her more overpowered than she likely already is? What, they gonna make Kokomi be able to crit and remove the negative 100 crit rate just because people don't like how she works? It almost seems to me that the Genshin community wants every single character to be a DPS. They just don't take the... I find it funny that the Genshin community claims that they have nothing to do in the game. You do know that studying characters, understanding how they work in every single little detail, and building them properly is content. That's why artifact grinding is so much of a thing, because that is content. Albeit, you need resin to farm artifacts, but still, sitting there and studying every single one of your characters, making sure you know what you're doing with them, especially when you're one of them whales that has every single character, and the constellations, You need to take the time to look at every single ability, and that includes weapons as well. Make sure you're putting your weapons where they belong. Because especially for 5-star weapons, there's likely a 5-star weapon for every single character right now. Okay? And I just see weapons getting thrown randomly instead of being put on the right characters, right? And it kind of gets bothersome. Because for any of us that play Hunky Impact, you just can't do that. And, this kind of goes for stuff like MMOs as well. See, the reason why MMOs never run across this issue of characters being unbalanced or whatever is because people sit there and study their characters because you have much longer time on just one unit. You're probably spending thousands upon thousands upon thousands of hours just on a single character. So over time, just on downtime when you're talking to your friends or whatever, you sit there and look at your characters and see what they do, and then you realize, oh crap, I built them wrong. And so you go and rebuild your characters, and next thing you know, your damage just skyrockets, your tanking abilities keep you alive, and your healers pretty much make sure your health never leaves 100%. But in Genshin Impact and Hunky Impact, where you have a ton of characters, you have to sit there and spend a little bit more time on everybody. Just because you need to find that perfect team for everything. One team isn't going to be a one-size-fit-all, right? And so what people often do, and trust me, I do it too, is they just want to sit there and play the game. And, then when they run out of resin, they get off forgetting to go and look at their characters. And then when a new character comes out and they take one look at them, use them for 2 seconds by a Mihoyo build that might be entirely wrong to begin with, and then say, oh, this character is trash. Did you really look at the character? Did you? Or did you just skim over their abilities? See, it might have looked like I skimmed over their abilities on those videos, but I took the time before filming to actually look over their abilities. It might have taken me a couple recordings because maybe there was something I missed, but that happens, and that's why you got to go back over and over and over and look at their abilities. And then when someone tells you, hey, Venti's only support, why are you using him in the Astrahan fight? You can then go and tell them, newsflash, Venti is also a DPS. Just because he's a support DPS doesn't mean he deals any less damage. And then tell them, just because you think a character works a certain way, if you actually do your research, you know that's not what they do. And that's the whole premise of this video. Is that if you think something is a certain way, fact check yourself. And I would say the best place to fact check yourself on is the source. If Donald Trump is getting hit on for one of his speeches getting taken out of context and then him looking like an ass, go back and look at the original speech. Right? And I can say the same thing for Joe Biden. When something gets taken out of context, you go and look back at the original speech. Right? For Genshin, when somebody says a certain character works a certain way, go look at their kit in-game. Not when it's on a website, not when it's still in beta. Go look at their kit in-game. Because that is the source. That is the evidence. It's the same thing for like character ages and stuff as well. Going back to my looks video, or crap, those aren't out yet. I keep thinking I released those already. The next video after this is going to be me talking about, how people always hit on anime characters because of their looks. Because some characters just look younger. You realize their ages always get put on Wikipedia pages. Unless the devs actually tell you their age, are they really that age? Like, see, Iordi on Azur Lane, actually, like, all of the Idolmaster characters, they actually had their age in-game, so you knew what their age was. Right? Like, that's looking at the source. If you're not looking at the source, you're just going to get things wrong. Right? And that's basically the point. If you think something is the way it is, look at the source and fact check yourself. With that being said, I think I've covered everything. And like I said, y'all know what the topic in the next set of videos are. Like, the next two, really. But, yeah. With that being said, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
What have you done? I saw that! Those poor ducks! It was for the pigeons. Go away! I never want to see you again! Ever! I'm telling Mommy!